Guys, it is 4:18 p.m. Central Time here in the U.S., and you're looking at live images of La Palma. I think they're about 6 hours ahead of us, so it's either 10:19 or 11:19 p.m. there tonight. And you're seeing kind of the usual activity. It's a little less, but throughout the day and throughout last night, you would see it build up. It would kind of block the lava flow coming down through the mountains and into that main lava pool, and then flood out on both sides, keeping that pressure on the downfield lava flow that's moving through the cities. Now, the reason for this video is a little different. I want to talk about something that may be happening. The scientists there said a couple of days ago that this is very unusual, and they had not in any way anticipated how long this is lasting, how powerful it is, and this jetting that's been looking like a blowtorch. Now again, these are live images, but I could go back and show you some that look like a space shuttle taking off. And you can see now there's black smoke, there's white smoke at different times. In the daytime, you can really tell the difference. Some of your lava, like your lava tubes there where it's bubbling and running over, mainly you'll see a white smoke. But in that upper jet, it will change just like you're seeing there, and suddenly you're getting some black smoke in there. Well, again, the scientists were surprised about this, and the blowtorch that keeps coming up, it looks like a blowtorch. You guys have mentioned it in the comments below the videos. So I went in and I did a little research. I'm going to throw it out there, kind of like I did several years ago when we were tracking an X-flare that struck the sun side of the planet as Tokyo was directly sun-facing and caused a 9.0 earthquake and a tsunami that caused the Fukushima event. So I'm throwing this out there the same way. But I wanted to do some research before I talked about it, and I'm sure there's a lot of information out there from different continents, but some of the largest areas that have seen a combination of volcanoes, oil, and natural gas deposits crossing each other are in China. And in 2013, they came out with some information about this, and that may be what we're seeing. Let's take a look at that. Now, guys, this is the PDF, and it's just one of probably many, but it talks about some of the largest oil and gas exploration areas in the world, and it's called Volcanic Reservoirs in Petroleum Exploration. It's Chinese, came out in 2013. Chapter 1 is the exploration of and history and features of volcanic reservoirs. You can see the Chinese names here. I won't butcher them, but I think what we're seeing is, after we read this and you kind of look at the situation and that jetting that is like a blowtorch, it's been coming up through the Canary Island volcano for 30 days now, and without much relief of pressure, except sometimes, then it always picks back up. It seems at night, but you can also see it better at night on what's going on. But it's very unusual for one to continue to erupt at this pressure, not for one to spew lava for this long, because Iceland volcano has had a lava flow for a long time, but not at this explosive rate. And what they're talking about here is the connection between volcanic reservoirs and exploration for oil and gas. Now, on the first page of this, it says volcanic reservoirs, regarded as unconventional reservoirs with volcanic rock at the reservoir bed, have been widely discovered in many hydrocarbon-bearing basins at home and abroad for more than 100 years. Overseas volcanic reservoirs have experienced a long history of exploration, with some discoveries of large oil and gas fields, but most of which were discovered by chance or in very localized areas. So what it looks like to me they're saying is they drill down, they found these pockets of oil and gas, and when they first realized the connection, as it was getting low and they were drilling deeper, they were pulling up samples of volcanic rock at the base of it. So you can say, well, the oil and natural gas or whatever had came in as the reservoir chilled out, cooled off, and filled up those magma chambers or whatever it did. So you got magma chambers, or at least you got on the base of them, you've got a volcanic rock base under the oil and natural gas. So were we seeing reactions in the ancient volcanoes, much like we're seeing now? Because if you think about it, you got magma coming up through the surface of the earth, through the magma chambers, via the great magma lake that the entire crust of the earth is sitting on. And again, we're dealing with grand solar minimum. There's a tremendous amount of solar radiation penetrating into the core of the planet, heating all of this up. So as the pressure builds up, and this lava from the magma section of the planet is bursting up, it's under more pressure, more cracks are created. And the magma chambers under La Palma may have expanded because of this. They will never relate this to solar activity or grand solar minimum. It's just beyond the comprehension. They will never do that. It's not going to happen. Don't expect it. We know it's true. Most of the listeners here for years have seen the impacts of solar events. But guys, then, I'm saying, did the natural gas and oil come in and fill these volcanic chambers, or did they encounter each other? And we see these massive blowouts, right? And then everything cools down, and then slowly these volcanic chambers may fill back up with oil, or gas, whatever they were coming across as far as the veins underground. Now, this goes on to say, however, in China, volcanic reservoirs have received more attention recently and have become one of the major targets for exploration. Hydrocarbon exploration has made breakthroughs in volcanic rocks in the deep Sunglio Basin and the Carboniferous Permian formations in the Junger and the Santiago basins. I hope that was right. Reserves have increased on a large scale, demonstrating the potential of oil, gas exploration in the volcanic rocks. Now, whichever came first, whatever happened first, I think that's what we're seeing now. And it's happening now because of grand solar minimum and the core of the planet heating up. But guys, I'm throwing this out here like I did when we watched the next flare strike Japan that afternoon, and the 9.8 quake flooded the place. You saw it in broad daylight. I think it hit at 2:45 p.m. that afternoon, and the greatest nuclear disaster in the history of mankind happened, Fukushima. So I'm throwing this out the same way I did that, and still to this day, there's a handful of YouTubers and all of you guys that understand how the sun affects our planet, whether it's a CME and a quake or the heating of the core. But the scientists will never admit that. And more than likely, they won't talk about that possibly they're dealing with this magma chamber and the expansion of it, cracking through the earth to come out of the multiple vents now that we see on top of the volcano mountain, that maybe that's what we're dealing with. That could put so much lava across that southern tip of the island before it's over with that it will be uninhabitable for a long time, especially that southeast side, as I've seen before. But I think that's a very high possibility, but the greater planetary effect will be the hydrocarbons in the atmosphere as we're going through grand solar minimum. They said this winter's going to be longer and colder than normal. And I've said it for a long time, to be ready. Make sure you got your firewood. But now you've got the wildfires that we saw, and if you listen to the reports coming from La Palma, they're dealing with the Saharan dust layer also on certain days when it's blowing off the African continent, blowing west across them. So they're mixing that and the volcanic ash together and the steam and smoke from the volcano. But I think that is going to be the greater overall effect on our planet. And this is how many of these very cold minimums, Martyr minimum and other ones, have occurred during great volcanic activity. And could those great volcanoes, some of them, have occurred, possibly even Yellowstone, when magma pierced through these hydrocarbon fields underground? Just my theory, but I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about it. It's a heads up. Be safe.